Rexy versus Sue. Fiction versus reality. And why Goji Center is never, ever going to be fully honest. So, is it really a one-sided beatdown? Is it closer than we think? Is there misinformation presented on all sides? The answer to all of these questions is primarily yes, and not the way you think. So, let's first tackle the basic subject. How large are our subjects? Consistently speaking, Rexy the T.rex is depicted at anywhere from 18 to 20 feet tall, with the lowest statements of her size being 15 to 16 feet tall. It's unknown at what part of the body they're measuring, to be fair. However, I think we can confidently say that if we're talking about Dominion, that the higher estimates are more likely. This is because she is fairly in scale with the 22-foot tall Giganotosaurus. Rexy is notably smaller, but if she were only 15 feet, there would be a much bigger size gap between the two. For example, a 13-foot T-Rex against a 20-foot tall Giga, the lowest statements for his size, would look something like this. Yeah, that's the size gap we're talking about, folks. Anyway, her length is anywhere from 40 to 45 feet long, up to 14 meters. Her weight is of course the most inconsistent attribute, considering she's been getting heavier and heavier over the years, including in skinny states, like in Fallen Kingdom. Her lowest estimate in Jurassic World is 8.4 metric tons. However, we have a more direct and canon estimate weight from Colin Trevorrow himself, the person who made all 3 Jurassic World films, citing Rexy's size as 6.2 meters tall, 14.4 meters long, and a body weight of 9.6 metric tons. Sue the T-Rex has a number of IRL estimates and weights based on the method used. GDI gets us about an 8-ton Sue, volumetric estimates get us a 9 to 10-ton Sue, and there have been many differences in between. Rexy has quite a comfortable size advantage. But as I've just covered last week, size isn't everything. What about strength, speed, durability, and all other combat attributes? Speed is the easiest one to get done. A recent paper on the speed of Tyrannosaurus Rex found that a 9.5-ton Sue could move at a maximum of 10.1 meters per second, or about 20 miles per hour, at the absolute maximum. Rexy's speed has been consistently stated to be 32 miles per hour even in her enclosure.
How fast are they? Well, we clocked the T-Rex to 32 miles an hour.
T-Rex?
She's also able to keep pace with the 35 mile per hour Indominus Rex and 30 mile per hour Giga in Dominion. So Rexy very comfortably takes the speed category too. Well, since these two are at least equal in weight, Rexy is much taller, faster, and if we're going to refer to agility, I mean, come on. We've seen how these things move in the movies. Real dinosaurs were significantly more stiff, and while T-Rex was definitely the most agile megatheropod, in absolute terms compared to the movie creatures, come on, let's not kid ourselves here. This category is not even close, Rexy takes it with ease. Intelligence/experience. The real T-Rex seem to fight all the time. Most of them have injuries of some kind or another, either from prey or from other T-Rex. Rexy has 30 years of experience on the island, battling other creatures, primarily prey animals that can actually fight back against her like Triceratops and sauropods, but very few large carnivore fights. However, something to note is that Rexy seems to adapt in battle quickly, likely faster than the real animal would be able to, such as changing her strategy against the Indominus Rex when having a few seconds reprieve after a beating, or how she kept changing up her tactics to try to fight the Giganotosaurus. Didn't work, however, because the Giga is a 13.6 ton, 18.5 meter, 22 foot tall Goliath that can shrug off T-Rex bites like nothing, showing that even with all these attributes Rexy has, a gap in strength can certainly dominate her in battle. But would the real animal be capable of such? Now for the category that all the size nerds are going to cry about. It applies mostly to durability too, but strength. Honestly, where should I even start? We could talk about bite strength, lifting strength, striking strength, and of course, this will be the most important category in the fight. Let's start with Sue first. The real Tyrannosaurus Rex is a very powerful animal, in excess of 1,000 kilos, and that its neck could support at least 1.3 to 1.6 metric tons. Scaling this up for Sue, who is about 1.4 times bigger, this means that Sue's head and neck alone could comfortably hold up to about 3 tons. Her body for leverage, it would be significantly higher. However, Rexy was confidently able to lift and even throw the bare minimum 6, if not 10.5 metric ton Indominus Rex over her head in a weakened state, and she's only going to be used at her peak performance, so I don't see why you'd use the volcano poisoned Fallen Kingdom Rexy, or just generally weaker Jurassic World Rexy. The fact she was also able to compete fiercely with the Indominus Rex speaks to her strength, as this same hybrid dinosaur was able to do things that real animals are simply not capable of, such as shrugging off about half the explosive power of an AT-4 rocket launcher, taking machine gun fire with little damage, ripping through multiple meter-wide pieces of metal as if they were made of cardboard, and even pulling up a 50-meter zipline tower. This tower would weigh roughly about 87 tons, and Indominus could pull that with just her head and neck. When engaging with Rexy in bite-to-bite combat, Indominus was losing. The same jaws that can crunch through multiple feet of metal were unable to do significant damage to Rexy's throat in their battle. It hurt, but since Indominus is so powerful, the fact Rexy basically shrugged off this bite and then delivered some of her own speak to how monstrously overpowered she is. Some may protest because of online, unpeer-reviewed, higher weight estimates for Sue. However, if you are to do that sort of method, then we would also have to equally use unverified online weight estimates for Rexy, such as putting her CGI model into the Blender software and calculating its volume. And the Goji Center fans shouldn't mind this, because they did the same thing with the giant skullcrawler. So let's keep the same energy, boys and girls. If we do that for Rexy, she comes out to an impressive 25 cubic meters. And with a theropod body density of about 0.95, this means that Rexy would weigh well over 20 tons. So if you are going to bring up higher online estimates for Sue, we have to do the same for Rexy, which significantly widens the size gap. This calculation would also be consistent by the fact that other people have gotten Indominus Rex to about 25 tons, and the Giganotosaurus to over 30 tons by the same method. Indominus Rex, with a single headbutt, is able to punch through the polycarbonate fiberglass aviary, with this same material, inverse, being able to withstand at least small arms fire. Indominus Rex also shrugged off a shotgun to her tongue. She was able to bring down 20-ton Apatosaurus in quick succession, as well as a 40-ton Brachiosaurus very quickly. Probably through use of her camouflage, since she was camouflaged right after this, but the point remains. Rexy's also able to battle to some extent with the much larger and stronger Giganotosaurus, who can bring down Dreadnoughtus by himself. While he is significantly more powerful than Rexy, she was able to withstand a good number of his attacks and harm him to some extent. When she did bite down on his nose, he made a sound of pain, even though she didn't inflict any damage. Though to be fair, the scene is very dark, So maybe she did actually do something to him. Rexy herself should compare to other T-Rexes like Buck, who could easily smash through a bus as if it were a soda can. She's also stated able to crunch through buses herself, and her bite force has consistently higher estimates than it does lower ones. Jurassic World has this weird habit of citing an unimpressive bite force metric from the real T-Rex, 37,500 newtons. The real T-Rex consistently gets higher than this, although there are some papers that do cite this as a lower bound estimate. However, 48, 57, and even 63,000 newton estimates are not uncommon for real Rexes, especially Sue. One could argue this would give Sue an advantage in bite force, however, it's not so simple, as we do directly have higher estimates for Rexy, such as being 10 times more powerful than the bite force of an alligator. The American alligator has consistently recorded bite force metrics of 9,000 to 13,000 newtons. 10 times that well surpasses the real T-Rex. And of course, this is also ignoring the fact Rexy is able to bite through the bulletproof Indominus Rex and is stated to have the strongest theropod bite force in the verse. This means she has a stronger bite than the Indominus Rex, the Giganotosaurus, the Spinosaurus, every big theropod, which means she would easily outperform the Giganotosaurus's bite of crunching through solid metal, Indominus doing the same, and also punching through bulletproof glass like styrofoam. So, we can consistently prove that Rexy takes pretty much every category against the real animal, no matter how you look at it. Whether or not you use higher feats or not kinda doesn't matter. Rexy's bigger, faster, stronger, more adaptable, and honestly, I don't even know how the real Rex would fight Rexy. I mean, if we put the two side by side, like, yeah, Sue can bite onto maybe Rexy's chest and arms, maybe her stomach, her calf probably, but the sheer scale difference means that Rexy can just bite onto the back of Sue's neck, or even her spine. Now, even if you did dishonestly put Rexy at the same or smaller scale than Sue, I still don't really think it would matter, even if you try to ignore the higher feats, because Rexy is literally twice as fast. So even if you were to try make Rexy smaller to like real Rex size, the fact she's still twice as fast, clearly more agile, and loves to throw her weight around in a fight, I just don't really see how the real animal could really do anything about that, especially since Rexy does have those huge snaggle teeth and goes right for the throat on the Indominus Rex. She does go for Giga's throat too, but he just outmuscles her in every way, so she can't get the chance. Most T-Rex fighting seems to be based on biting the face. There are neck bites, of course, but they seem to be a lot less common than face biting. And the reason why this speed would be important is because if we're talking about kinetics and thus strength, Rexy can move not only her own enormous body extremely quickly, but also while wrangling with other huge things. She literally does not slow down at all when moving the enormous Giga with her jaws. And considering he is the biggest Jurassic Park theropod by far, it's not really a surprise. Shit, even in the script, Rexy was 25 feet tall. Hollywood made a monster. I mean, I don't know how you argue for the real animal. No matter what way you slice it, Jurassic Park's dinosaurs are just too big, fast, and strong. And Rexy would win with ease.